So I cannot have conversations about LGBTQ space making without approaching this the pronouns. A lot of people are like, pronouns, what do you do that for? Why does that matter? Can't you just, right? So um I've also heard from folk, there are people who, again, who don't maybe necessarily identify as male or female, who maybe see their gender as something more fluid, who choose to use, like, the singular they as their pronouns. And there are other pronouns that I didn't use here. A quick Google search will show you the many different options there are. And so one of the main objections I get to people using the singular they is from folk who say, but it's not correct grammatically. And I am so very pleased to say, as a word nerd, that um, this actually is a return to how Shakespeare and them used to use this term, the singular they. This was common, and in fact, the use of you, we could say you singular or you plural. You was not always a singular and a plural term. There was you and thee, right, or thou, um, and the they used singularly as well as plurally. And so language evolves as we do, and it'll ebb and flow. We might discard some stuff now, and then all of a sudden it makes a comeback. We create new language. And so I encourage you, I guess, again, like doing a quick search on Google will help you like look more deeply as to why actually using the singular they is not incorrect. And PS, we already use it in language, so part of what I try to do is like, one, kind of help people ease or move through their own obstacles as to why they may be resistant to use singular they language. But we I've tried to encourage folk, to use it with more intention, So I'll use these examples of someone named Kim, so Kim left her bag on the table. If it's hers, find out if she wants it brought to her or if she'll get it herself. We also have Kim left his bag on the table. If it's his, find out if he wants it brought to him or if he'll get it himself. And then we have Kim left their bag on the table. If it's theirs, find out if they want it brought to them or if they'll get it themselves. And you'll see that first part of the sentence, right? We already use the singular they. When someone is like, oh, look, someone left their pencil on the table, right? And so it's like, it's not as strange or unusual as it may feel at first. It does certainly, require exercising, like it's a new muscle that you need to use. So if I go to the gym on day one and lift my little weights, I'm not gonna expect to walk out, looking like a bodybuilder, right? Well, I do, but I don't share that out loud usually. But it's gonna take practice, right, before I become more adept and it becomes more natural, right, to be able to like use that language. So I encourage you to practice this with people who are not uh you know who don't use the singular they. Have someone who can kind of hold you accountable. Practice it with one another. Practice talking about that person who uses the singular they when they're not there. um Ask people to check you on it if you use the wrong pronouns, and just keep trying and working at it. It makes a bigger difference than you may realize. And we'll kind of we'll see some of why as we continue this presentation.